that the way these sessions are designed, they are designed keeping in mind that I'm able to provide a waypoint to you, a direction to you, a framework, a playbook to you. It is ultimately you who have to action it and walk upon it, and also keep yourself updated considering the changes which are happening in our ecosystem, right? So don't look at this masterclass as after 10 sessions, any magic would happen and you will start getting new projects or things will change, right? Nothing of that sort. Unless you work on what I tell you to work on and you apply yourself, right? That's the biggest, I would say, reasoning that you should keep in mind when you are going through these sessions, right? So it's not like a magic wand. Uh, Plus, you have to keep yourself updated, which I will share some resources with you that you can go through consistently. So yeah, those are some 3 or 4 points that I want you to remember while you're going through all of these sessions. And please avoid distraction. The moment you will pick up your phone, you will lose the track. I'm telling you, I've done this enough number of times. Please don't pick up your phones. Keep them, if not on airplane, switch off the mobile data or Wi-Fi, because you will miss the track, whatever I will cover in this session and going forward in the next sessions as well. You can ask your questions. Absolutely. You can put them in the chat box for today's session because the number of people are more. But the next session onwards, you will be allowed to unmute, interact, ask questions. We will have slots for questions towards the end of the session. All of that is possible, right? You can ask questions on the WhatsApp group, as you've seen that you can message on WhatsApp group as well. All right, great. So those are some of the important aspects that I wanted you to remember. But just for this session, because there are relatively more people. Usually, my meta ads, Google ads, if any one of you have attended, people, the number of people are a lot more. But I just want you to quickly introduce yourself in the chat box so everyone is able to read the room and understand the background of where you are coming, where you are located, what you do. Name we can see from your screens. That is good. But where are you from and where are you located? And maybe if you want to state your expectation from this masterclass, just let everyone know about that in the chat box so that we know each other. I know you, and I'm able to take the right context when I'm explaining things going forward. All right, great. So I'll wait for your introductions in the chat box. Meanwhile, you share where you are from, what you do. I will quickly start sharing my screen and will introduce myself, right? Okay, great. So 1 second. I'm just checking if the recording has started. Yes, it has. You will get the recording of the sessions. But yeah, the last thing I want to tell you that um, once a session is concluded, you should expect that the recording will be provided to you in a span of about 48 hours. And it is done intentionally, again, to encourage the participation for the live session, right? So you don't have to follow up for it. I will give you a Google Drive link. Recordings will be uploaded there after 48 hours of conducting the live session. Okay, so now I'm sharing my screen and we'll get going with what I want to cover today. All right. Let me know if you're not able to see my screen. I've started presenting it. Let me tell you what is coming up now in today's session. Okay, all right. So firstly, I'm super excited about today's session because I'm conducting a live session after a break of about a month or 45 days, which never happened in last 5 years of me teaching. I've never taken a break of a month from live teaching. The reason why I do live teaching is because I like expressing myself. I like talking to people. I know it's difficult to do it offline, therefore we do it virtually. But it just keeps me going. Plus, it pushes me to keep myself updated as well, right? So that's the reason why I do these live sessions. So I'm super excited because this is this is a topic which has made my career, and I would like to believe myself and my team are probably the one of the best teams out there who understand this topic well, and we have very clear boundaries of what we do not want to do. Okay, well, which I will come to. I will explain what we do as a company as well. But just keep in mind that the way entire masterclass is designed is coming from a practitioner mode. We do everything that I will teach you. I will give you case studies, I will show you reports. And by the way, whenever I show these case studies and dashboards and reports, that part will not be recorded because it is client specific data, right? So we cannot afford to let that go out in the world, right? And that's why you should attend the live sessions. But everything that I will teach you now is something that is practiced by us and my team throughout. So it's not essentially theoretical in nature. This is something we live and we breathe. Okay. All right. I'm seeing some introductions already. Great. Thank you so much for introducing yourself, guys. Everyone, please participate and tell us where are you from. I've seen some of these introductions already on the WhatsApp group as well. Okay, little bit about me. My name is Apurv. I'm a teacher by heart. I like doing this. I believe that today is the time where people really need to go upskill themselves, including myself. And therefore, I invest a lot of time in unlearning, relearning stuff. But I have been working in this space for 11 years now. I started with a fashion marketplace, e-commerce marketplace back called Jabong.com. People from India might know. It was later acquired by Myntra. Myntra was acquired by Flipkart, and then Flipkart by Walmart, and so on. But I got my first SEO assignment from Jabong.com in late 2013. Before that, I started learning digital marketing through one of such courses in offline ecosystem through attending classes in Dadar, Mumbai. I was living in Dadar at that time. So that got me started, and from there I got this project to work on, and I've not looked back since then. I worked with them. I worked for two larger conglomerates in full-time capacity until 2022, early 2022. I used to work with Times Internet. I was responsible to grow and monetize some of the apps and websites of Times Internet. Some of you would have heard of Magic Breaks, ClickBuzz, Men's XP, Times of India, Economic Times, and so on. I was responsible to help them grow organically. Again, SEO was my portfolio. And some of these websites ended up becoming really big. Even today, like websites like Magic Breaks, ClickBuzz. Magic Breaks, I think, still gets more than probably 25, 30 million hits organically a month. ClickBuzz also probably in the same range. ClickBuzz was the top 10 websites globally to get most number of organic hits in 21, 22, and so on. But me, along with my team, we were the people that designed the first information of the website. And the website was still there, but we redesigned it in a way. Then I worked at Future Group. Again, people from India might know. I was responsible to digitize food, fashion, FMCG formats within the group, the biggest brand being Big Bazaar at that time. Future Group was acquired by Reliance, and so I left Future Group in early 2022, and since then I'm on my own. The entire group was acquired by Reliance. I had an opportunity to join Reliance, but I did not because I started getting some organic consulting assignments because of the work that I did in the past. So yeah, that is, and since then I'm working with businesses in consulting capacity, and I've got opportunity to work for some of the biggest brands in India and globally. That is a little bit about me. I also create content. I do not like to call myself as an influencer. I don't think I am. The reason why I create content and I started creating content was mostly to express myself, and not to chase the algorithm, not to chase the followership so much. And that you will see that I will not even try to follow trends and be topical all the time and use trending audio. All of that I don't do, because it's not. I know for a fact that it will work for me. You will not see me using memes or meme hooks and so on, because I believe that I am there to express myself on the platform. If I have to be quirky, I will be quirky in my own way, not by following what everyone else is doing. So far, it has worked for us, for sure. Content has truly been a game changer for me personally, and for us as a company as well. Before I started creating content, I did not even have a company. I was doing everything in freelancing capacity. I never called myself as a freelancer, but I'm a freelance consultant and so on. Right? I had no team. I was doing everything by myself, and mostly working with businesses directly, collaborating with their teams or agencies internally. But after content, things changed. We have grown over 20 times easily in every terms that you can think of over the last 2 years or so. Um, and this is one of the lessons I will give you in one of the sessions, which is importance of contribution and how it impacts performance marketing, right? But yeah, that's something I like to do. I do it. You will see one piece of content going from my account almost every day now. I also run a free community. Some of you would have seen it. Some of you would be part of it. I write newsletters, community posts, etc. on my community. The community currently is hosted on nas.io platform. You can search nas.io/Apurv. It's a decently sized community now. I think close to 24,000 members are part of it, and you can see people from different countries. And this is another advantage that you get from content, right? There is no boundary to content. It can truly travel outside of your primary location, primary country, and so on. So over there, expanding globally is something where we have done relatively well. Even right now, almost 70% of the consulting work I do is outside India. And yeah, I write some newsletters, etc. There are two new newsletters coming in the coming week. One is coming and another one on Tuesday. My take on AI race, who is winning it, why they are winning the AI race, and a couple of more newsletters planned, right? So you can subscribe to it and go through it whenever I send it out. Yeah, so that is about me. That is what I do. Little bit, I'll take just 30 more seconds what we do so that you're able to get the context of the entire masterclass and the content that I will cover. We are not an agency. I don't run ads anymore myself. None of my team members run ads anymore. We don't run ads. We don't do SEO. We don't do retention. We are purely a strategic thinking layer for brands in between. Execution, running of campaigns is all done by agencies. There are agencies in every nook and corner today, right? So I don't want to create just another agency. So I realized that the market doesn't need more execution hands in our line of work. Market needs people who can put a thought process, systemize the thinking, and put a structure in place, which you can only do if you have experience. People will also trust you if your background is strong, right? Many in many cases, people come back to me asking that they also want to be consultants. But if you have like 3, 4, 5 years of experience, it will be very difficult for you to drive results. You need diversity. You need good experience under your belt to make a difference. But that is what we do as a company. All the brands that we are associated with, we don't run campaigns, but we have full control, full visibility of how performance marketing is done, what works today. In fact, we drive the thinking, we drive experiments, we drive if a brand wants to expand in a new country, in a new city, how that approach should be. Basically, everything that you see that I create on Instagram is what we do. So I will not talk too much about the execution of campaigns. I will not talk about, for example, the Andromeda update by Meta. People will, and if you have a little bit of idea about these updates, people will create content on it, will try to get your attention, will try to sell you something. We will not do any of that because we understand the importance of such updates and how to utilize them instead of looking at it as an opportunity to sell you another product. It could be a workshop, be a service, whatever it is, right? So that's where we are a little careful in terms of the work that we get into. At any given point of time, we don't start working with one brand in a quarter, right? But it will be a big one if we get into it, big one at both the ends, right? And we get our skin in the game and so on. But where I spend about 80% of my time is content and education now. That's why you would have seen my own website, multiple updates coming up. If anyone has taken single masterclass of Meta ads on demand, Google ads on demand, or even full, understand the product, read through the content of the landing page. It's not a one-time product. It's a 12-month product. So there will be updates coming up in those masterclasses almost every month, which you will have access to. Right now, it's just a starting point. Okay, but yeah, that's what I do in a nutshell. Now, let's get into what we are supposed to cover here and why we are here. First of all, I want to ask you guys a question. Tell me in the chat box. Think and tell me. Don't just react to it. Think and tell me. How many of you saw an ad from me of this masterclass and signed up from that ad? Of performance marketing masterclass, I'm saying, not Google ads, Meta ads, no. How many of you saw an ad of this masterclass on Instagram or on Google and signed up from that ad? People usually get confused in this. Anyone? Come on, yes, no. It's a yes or no question, right? Did you see an ad from me of this masterclass and signed up from it? Everyone is saying no. Just one yes. Right? No, I have not done any ad to promote this product of mine. And it's an expensive one. All of you know that, right? Compared to primarily the Indian market. It's an expensive product, right? But I've not done any ads. And you can see that it's not too bad of a cohort size for a 10 session masterclass. Why? Why am I not running ads to promote this? Any guesses? Any guesses? Why am I not running ads to promote this masterclass? Krishna, you probably signed up from my organic post or from my link in bio, or probably from a lead magnet posts that I do almost every day, but there are no ads of this masterclass. Why am I not running ads? Yeah, because sorry, I don't know your name. If you can change your screen name, it just says S at the moment. Yeah, that's a valid point because I already have an audience. Yeah, could be. It's not a top of the funnel kind of product. Yeah. Grace is saying, I hope your name is Grace. It's not a product which is top of the funnel kind. Yeah, absolutely right. Any more guesses? Any more guesses? Why am I not running ads for this product? It has got nothing to do with financials, by the way. I can absolutely run ads for this product. Yeah, experience is there. Experience, you usually see experience when you attend these sessions, right? I am putting my experience to practice with this vertical of my business, which is education. Yeah. Anyone, any more? Wait for 5 more seconds. High intent and quality audience. Yeah, Deepthi. I thought I signed up from an ad that no, there is no ad running Krishna of this product. Already some of us bought previous masterclass. Yeah, absolutely. So easy to offer this. And some of you will buy after the first session as well, hopefully. I'll tell you, see, very simple. I understand how this game works of performance marketing. I understand how content works. And I believe that, and someone told me this in one of the performance marketing sessions, that whatever I am covering in these masterclasses is worth learning, but the way I market myself is also worth learning. And I totally agree to it. You should learn that. The reason why I'm saying that is not to flatter, but I'm telling you this because you will have a lot of learnings in the way I'm running my own business. Okay. In this closed group, right? If I have to tell you it's important for you to know this. My team is only 6 people, by the way, and on track to probably hit $1 million. Just one more good batch, and we will hit $1 million overall as a business with 65% gross profit. Okay. Telling you the financials, absolutely happy to probably show you if you want, but you can take my word on it. Now, why this is happening and what is really helping is I understand how performance marketing works. And I want to tell you this, that it is not a channel which will help you if you are in your survival mode. If your business is in survival mode, it will be very difficult for you to bank on performance marketing as a channel. And you will get, and that's why I'm saying you have to be with me throughout the sessions, right? Without distractions. I believe that there is a role that performance marketing plays. If you are at a stage where you can't afford to spend or rather overspend even slightly more than what you are supposed to, performance marketing will not be able to help you. What is performance marketing? I'll come to that in the next slide. But the reason why coming back to the point, the reason why I am not doing ads of this product is because I know for a fact that it will not work. There has been a journey that all of you have taken with me. Probably you are following my content for 6 months, a year, maybe 2 years. Maybe you are consuming my newsletters. Maybe you have attended one of my previous workshops, master classes. Some of you have. Some of you took the Black Friday offer. Maybe you consumed some content there, and then you thought that this is worth investing into, right? So I know if I directly promote this product, it will not work. The learning for you is, if you're running performance marketing, if you're running ads, realize the product that you want to promote. If you will say that I will promote the product where I have the highest margin, but it also inflates the cost of the product, it will not work. It won't work. You have to have a product which is led, which is performance marketing led. If you don't have, more on this when we move forward, but realize the importance of moving audiences in a particular ladder, specifically if you are selling a high ticket size product like this one. Okay. All right. So I'm not running ads because I know it will work organically, because I have done so much to get attention organically or from my other products, which are relatively, I would say, cheaper, this one, right? Or less comprehensive than this one. That's the takeaway I want you to have, that you need to circle down on, if you have 10 products to promote, you can't promote all 10 on performance marketing. What is it that you want to promote? Something that gets people into your ecosystem. Your ecosystem could be your website, your newsletters, your YouTube, if you have YouTube, right? And then you hammer your offer or your conversion lever, whatever you have. Now, what is performance marketing? Okay. Okay. Now, one of the questions is, then how do you scale beyond organic? You should run ads. I'm not saying you should not run ads or you should not do performance marketing. You have to do performance marketing if you want to scale. You will have to do, and you need to understand the point I made here. You need to have a product, an entry product, especially if you are new, which helps you to enter audience's mind. And then you, of course, have, if you want to create ladders, absolutely makes sense. But this is not true for all the products. Like in the next session, I will tell you performance marketing psychology for low AOV, high AOV products. For example, if I'm selling a jewelry, which is priced less than 1,000 rupees, right? In most of the cases, then there is no need of having an entry product. The product itself is such a low price point that people will not sweat before buying such a product, right? So this psychology varies slightly, and then it changes for a service or a B2B business. So this psychology, this thought process slightly changes as we talk about the nature of business. But Praveen, understand the point I made. You have not understood. It's not about, of course, you have to run ads if you want to scale, but you have to first of all realize or understand what will help you to scale. Just running ads, just making a website, having a product listed will not help you to scale. Scaling is a lever, and you need to have unfair advantage if you want to scale. What is your unfair advantage? We'll come to that. We'll discuss more on this. So what is performance marketing anyway? Okay. Performance marketing in a nutshell, if I have to give you a definition, because I feel it's important if you're absolutely new to this, and you don't understand what this means, let me give you a definition, modern definition of performance marketing. It is a practice of designing, running, optimizing campaigns with a clear focus on measurable results. Measurable results could be sales, signups to your newsletters, signups to your workshop, signups to your B2B SaaS product, whatever it is, while continuously improving efficiency through data and signals. Now, understand this. There are two very important points I will make now, which I want you to remember throughout all the sessions, because I will decode one of these points in the last session now, 10th session. But the first point I will start decoding today. There's an aspect I'm talking about of signals. We are moving towards signal economy, which I'll talk about today. Okay, what are signals? What do I mean by signals? I'll come to that. But performance marketing in 2022 was more about control. I want control over my audience. I want control over who will see my ad, where will they see it, when will they see it, where do I want to run ads. I want to have full control over that. We have moved away from control economy now. We have moved to signal economy. This later. Second point I want to make is that any business on digital faces just two kind of challenges. Either you face efficiency challenge or you face scale challenge. What is efficiency challenge? Efficiency challenge is my ROI is low, my ROAS is low, my CAC is high. You understand ROAS, CAC, return on ad spend, and customer acquisition cost. So either ROAS is low or CAC is high, is efficiency challenge. What is scale challenge? Scale challenge is I am doing 100 orders a week now. I want to go to 200 orders. How do I do it? Most of the businesses try to solve scale challenge and end up being in efficiency challenge, which means the moment I increase my spends, my ROAS goes down. Anyone who has done ads would have seen this. The moment you increase your spends on Meta or Google, your ROAS goes down, your CAC goes high. It may or may not improve eventually. So any business you will see will mostly face these two kind of challenges. And after I complete everything that I want to cover, in the last session, I will give you a toolkit or checklist, you for lack of a better word, which will break down efficiency and scale for you. But in between, there is a very good amount of content that you need to understand before you reach that stage. That if a business is facing efficiency challenge, how to catch hold of it. It's actually an efficiency challenge. And whether you are facing a scale challenge, how to identify it and then how to fix it. Okay, Krishna, which term you did not understand? Some of the terms I will not know. I spoke many terms, right? Which is it? Which is the term you did not understand? I will explain. Okay, now, Puneet, this is a very third, fourth session question. So low AOV, high AOV, I'm not getting into it. I will only answer questions which are in line with what I'm covering at the moment. Future questions I will not cover because I'm yet to explain a lot of these topics. Krishna, ROAS and CAC, customer acquisition cost. At what cost you acquired a customer? Okay, these are the two terms I used. Okay, awesome, great. Puneet, I've read your question, but I'm yet to cover a lot of things with respect to low AOV as a segment, which I'm supposed to do next session onwards. That's why I'm skipping your question at the moment. Okay. So I have an eye on your questions, guys. Feel free. Okay, now this is the definition of performance marketing. In today's session, I want to set the tone of what is coming up in the rest of the sessions. Okay. So while I will not be giving you a specific framework in today's session, but I believe what I'm going to cover is the present and probably the future. By future, I mean next 1 to 2 years. No one knows what will happen after that of performance marketing. Okay. But before I move forward, anyone who is new, let me also tell you by performance marketing, what I mean is ads that you run on these platforms where you design these ads, you apply your thinking framework, what product you want to promote, how you want to promote, what is the expected CAC, ROAS, etc. you want to have, and how to optimize those campaigns, right? So that is what I mean by performance marketing. The two platforms I will cover are Google and Meta in the entire masterclass with equal weightage on both. Moving on, some very simple, basic, stupid questions I want to ask you. Okay. Out of these two airplanes, which one do you think will go faster? A paper plane or a actual plane? I mean, in India today, even actual planes are not flying. That's a separate story. But in general, largely speaking, which plane will go faster? A paper plane or an actual plane? Obviously, an actual plane, right? That is a truth. That is a reality. No one can deny that. Similarly, the rules of the game, if you're playing chess, are defined. You can't change that. They are casted in stone, right? Like you You have to abide by those rules. You have to play by those rules. If you're playing any sport like chess, correct? If there's an equation of E is equal to mc square, that's a given. It has been proved. There has been enough research around it. Now it is again casted in stone, so people will follow it wherever they need to follow it, right? The point is, the way there are rules defined for categories and different motives. Similarly, performance marketing revolves around some truths, some rules that I want to tell you, which where I do not want you to argue at the moment in the first session. I want to tell you these truths, explain you these truths which you should inculcate. You should accept. Yes, this is the reality. It may or may not happen for you, but believe me, I have more visibility than you have. So it may not be happening for you, but in the larger scheme of things, truths of performance marketing are absolutely true. They are the reality of today. And in all likelihood, according to my sense, this will be the reality over the next 1 to 2 years at least as well. Like I said, what happens after that? Even I couldn't figure out after watching the podcast of Elon Musk. I don't think anyone kind of knows that. But I believe that you should know this reality of performance marketing. And I also want to tell you that please, when you go through this and the rest of the sessions, right? Yes, if you're an entrepreneur, then you should think your own business. There's no doubt. Your questions, your thoughts should all be centered around your own business. But if you are not a business owner, you're working somewhere, you're doing a job, freelancing, I believe then you have to be a little open in understanding different aspects of what I will cover. Because if you are working for a service industry today, you will not work in service industry throughout your life, right? You might pivot into e-commerce and or vice versa, or maybe even into edtech or any other category. So what I want you to remember, if you are working somewhere, not a business owner, is that your present is not your future reality. So when you are understanding these concepts, don't get too stringent about where you are working right now. That is the biggest mistake people make. Please, if I'm explaining anything with respect to e-commerce, don't switch off. Understand that as well. I have made this mistake once in my life and I'm never making it again. I'll explain this. I'll talk about it when I reach that module, right? So wherever you are right now, great, but you should be open to learning concepts, new categories, and so on as well. Okay, now what are these truths and realities of performance marketing? I have taken years to learn this, but I will tell you in this masterclass within few minutes. Okay. Number one, detach yourself from what you already know. I don't want you to come into these sessions with strict preconceived learnings. You have to be flexible. You have to unlearn. You have to relearn with me in next 10 sessions. When I used to do, right now I'm not doing it, but until last month I used to do a product called Challenges, where people got a chance to work in my team for 2 months and so on. But before anyone starts a challenge, I used to do a conversation with them. I would read them if they are coachable or not. See, if you're not coachable, no one can help you. If you're stringent about, I know this, and you have to make sense to me only in this particular problem that I am facing, then it's a consulting session, right? Not a masterclass like this. So the point is, a lot has changed over the last years. Maybe what you know is not relevant anymore. And I will challenge and question that, right? I strongly believe if you have been running ads on both these platforms, detach yourself from what you have learned over the last few months. Because what used to work 2 years back does not work anymore. There are so many updates happening by these platforms that if you are not at top of it, if you're not constantly on a learning mode and letting go of what you knew probably 3, 4, 5 years, 7 years back, it will be a tough road for you ahead, right? So you know something great. Fundamentals you should remember. The logic of Facebook you should remember. Of course, that is not going to change. How Facebook understands audiences, you should know that. But rest everything that you have done yourself, even if it has worked for you, detach yourself from that. Okay, just be open to learning. Only then you will be able to get the maximum takeaway from these sessions. Number one. Number two, AI is rooted. It is a reality. No one can challenge it. You have to learn how to ride this wave. And you also have to learn when to break when to break this wave. What I mean by this is AI is a reality. You should know how to, and I'll talk a lot about AI as well, starting today. But what I want you to remember is at the end of the day, AI is like, look at any AI solution like a junior in your team, not your boss. Any AI solution at the as on date is equal to an over enthusiastic intern that you hire in your team. So when you hire an intern in your team, you don't blindly follow what they tell you. You use your judgment, you use your experience, you know more than them, right? About your business. AI is, look at AI from that perspective. Don't look at it that it will solve your marketing problems without having a you filter. You will have to apply your own filter. That is what I mean. And my entire narrative of AI will revolve around this. I don't look at AI as in the current form and shape. I am no one to predict. I am not working in Silicon Valley. I am not working on robotics or GPUs or TPUs. I don't know what will be the future 2 years, 3 years from now. I am talking about the reality of today, and I am reading between the lines of what updates Google and Meta are doing and where, which helps you to understand how the next 1-2 years will look like. Okay. Like I go through, honestly speaking, I go through all the quarterly reports of Google and Meta. Like I can challenge that probably no one knows more than me here what Google announced in the last earning report and what Meta announced, even TikTok as well, because we work outside India as well. But again, the point is, which you should as well, which you should do if you want to stay at top. Like just it's a 6-7 pager quarterly transcript which you should go through. It helps you to understand where the advertising ecosystem will move. But again, coming back to the point of AI, it is a reality. We will learn how to use it. We will also learn how to break it and when to break it. What I mean by breaking is that any AI solution works in pattern. They're trained on certain data sets, right? If you know how it works. As a marketer, we are known for our unconventional thinking. We are known to doing things in unorthodox manner. We are known for ability. We know when to move out of the loop of being repetitive all the time. We know that, right? As an entrepreneur, I'm sure you know that. That's probably the push because of which you started your own business. Therefore, I believe while using AI is a skill, when not to use AI or when to break the pattern of AI is also a skill. I'll talk more about this, like I said, when we reach there. Like I'm a big fan of Gemini. I feel that what they have done in the last the recent updates by Gemini are like too good. If you don't use Gemini, if you're still using ChatGPT, yeah, it's good for certain use cases. Perplexity is also good for certain use cases. But to me, Gemini is number one. If you start using, I'm talking about tools here just out of curiosity, I'm telling you, if you use ChatGPT, if you have been using ChatGPT for a long time and you start using Gemini for your work, you will realize that when you were using ChatGPT, you were probably talking to a 12th grader. But Gemini, you're talking to probably a who holds a master's or a PhD in your line of work. It's that good. But I'll tell you where and when to use it and when to break it also. Right? Like I would never want anyone to be 100% dependent on AI. That's why look at these solutions like a intern that you have picked up, probably from one of the top B schools, right? Who will work under you. Number 3, you cannot scale a business without performance marketing. Someone just said this, right? How will I scale? You cannot. You need performance marketing to scale. Performance marketing, not for this masterclass, but I do run ads. I started running ads recently. By recently, I mean like 4-5 months back. I was not doing any ads before that. I was only relying on word of mouth and network and so on. But yeah, if you want to scale on digital, you will have to run ads. You can't run away from it. That is a reality. Number 4, learn how to play on leverages and learn how to build these leverages one by one. I like myself as a leverage guy. When I present to any business, if I have to pitch myself, if at all I have to, I'll talk about the leverages that a business already has and what they can create. Their performance marketing could be a part of it. Now, what is a leverage? In marketing terms, what is a leverage? You know me, right? So I will talk. I'll give you my example so that it's easier for you to understand. What is my leverage? My leverage today is distribution. I can launch a new workshop tomorrow and it will sell. I know that for a fact. I've done products from 4,000 rupees to 10,000. Some of you know, 30,000. Some of you know, most of you know here in this one. I've done up to 60K, 1 lakh, 2 lakh, all that I've done, maybe for specific audiences. Everything sells. Why? Because my leverage is distribution. I have attention from the right kind of audiences. It took me time to build it. It took a lot of, if you see, I've done 700 posts in 2 years on Instagram, which means almost every day I'm posting. So you have to find time to do it. You have to realize why you are doing what you are doing. Plus, you need to see results out of it. Distribution is just one kind of leverage. There are 7 more leverages that you can work on. Content is a leverage, right? Many other things are part of it, which I will come to. But what is your leverage? First of all, we have to understand that, which I will talk about in the coming sessions. Is it a strong brand? Is it a strong offer? Do you have creative agility? Is it a personal brand? Like, I believe one of the most common challenges that brands have today is not being agile with creatives. If you know something is not working by 1 p.m. today, what are you doing to fill the gap in next 11 hours of the day? Can you churn a creative in next 2 hours? Can we do a WhatsApp? Can we do an email? Can we think of probably running a promotion in the coming week that helps us to create spike? Or you need to have, if you want to try out a new audience, a new platform, a new messaging, you need to be agile. Something I tell whenever I'm doing consulting sessions, if it takes more than 48 hours for you to creative, and I'm talking about statics here, you are too slow. It should not even take 48 hours now in the age of AI. It should be probably in a few hours. The more you test in terms of your messaging, better your ads will become. There's no doubt about it. So, what is your leverage? Okay, more on this, like I said, when we'll move towards the content strategy stage of our framework. Then, small businesses need to stop relying on agencies for strategy. The big challenge I have seen across businesses. I'm just getting started, or I've not invested in marketing enough. I'm just getting started, but I also want to, of course, save money wherever I can. Therefore, I will look for the cheapest option out there. I want cheap option, but I also want people who have experience in my category. Doesn't work like that, especially to business owners. I'm saying I don't run an agency, so I can tell you confidently and transparently. If you're a small business, you need to hold the strategy of marketing. An agency will execute it. If you believe an agency will build a proper end-to-end marketing strategy for you, it will not work. Either they don't have the expertise, or even if they have expertise, if there are 50 people working in an agency, 5 people are the best ones. And they are deployed on the best accounts they have. And if you were at their place, you would also do the same. You want to protect your business, right? The first priority that you have is survival. So if you are working in that space or a small business owner, and of course, after these sessions, you will be able to build the strategy I'm referring to, but you should hold the strategy. I will decide which product to promote, at what margins, at what offer, if at all. And by offer, I don't mean discounts all the time. This also I will explain. At what offer, what will be my hook, what are the themes I want to test, what will be my landing page user experience, how am I reading data from ads to website, all of that I am the one who should know about, or someone in your team internally should know about, and they report back to you, not an agency. An agency is just an execution hand. I'm not saying they're not capable of thinking, but they don't have time. Right? I'm telling you the reality. Like, working in an agency is really tough. If I'm running an agency, if I deploy my best resources on your account, what is the guarantee you will stay next month? There's no guarantee. You will give me a notice and you will move out. So why would I deploy my best resources on your account? Especially knowing that you are a small business. So cash flow could be a little dicey. The point is, you need to hold the strategy yourself. Make this yourself. Get an agency to probably vet it, break it down into phases. All of that is fine. But you decide what goes on ads, not your agency. Number six, we have moved from control economy to signal economy. Something I mentioned earlier. What I mean by this is there was a time when we controlled everything about ads. I used to do it myself. If I'm promoting a fashion product, which is probably a mass fashion product, I will decide who I want to reach out to. I want to reach out to engaged shoppers. If I'm doing discounting, I want to reach out to people who are interested in discounts, offers, and so on. Back in the day, we used to do the exercise of what are the behavior demographics available on Meta, and I will decide who will see my ad. You don't need to do that anymore. You should not do that anymore. Okay, you will understand the relevance of signal more uh, in today's session, where I will talk about what kind of signals am I talking about, right? Like cost signals, creative signals, all this I will break down one by one. Retention signals, efficiency, market, funnel, what it means, and how to read signal data is extremely important. Signal to me is you looking at a subset of data and taking a predictive call on it. Plus, you are also relying on the AI of these platforms, that they will be able to find the right audience for you. That is what I mean by signals. You don't have to control it. You have to just provide the right suggestions, right signals to these machines, have right systems so that they can do the hard work of finding your audience for you. There are these 6 types of signals which we will understand one by one. Okay. Number 7, agencies need to redefine them. If you're on the agency side, I want to tell you this, that running an ads is not a differentiation. Like I've seen this enough number of years. You might do great job in ads, you might get the desired ROAS, you will still be fired because of whatever reason. I've seen reasons where founder's daughter came into the picture and she has a friend who runs an agency and things want to move there. You can't do anything about it, right? So running ads is not a differentiation anymore. So if anyone who is running a performance marketing agency or you run ads, it's not a differentiation anymore. In fact, we are moving to a market where brands would not like to outsource ads. It's present, it's reality. I'm working with 2 or 3 such businesses which spend more than 100 crores on ads every year. And my role is that if they have 30 people in marketing team, they want to reduce it to 10 people year and want to move the entire ads execution from agency to the internal team over the next 2 to 3 years with that kind of marketing spends. Right. So and it's not about the large businesses. Many small businesses also feel that because ads are getting automated, there is no value add that an agency can do as such, which is not entirely wrong also. Okay, so you need to define that what is your differentiation or USP. For example, some agencies are pivoting towards doing creatives as well. That's a good pivot, in my opinion, at the moment, because then you hold the entire funnel. If you want to test something, get into the creative ideation, um, churn the creatives, or run it in ads and see if it works for you. And you are not taking too much of bandwidth from the brand side also, right? So you will define how you differentiate. Some agencies own the entire lifetime value of the customer, right? Like I will improve the purchase frequency delta of 50%, for example. Good KPI to hold. Yeah, some projects initially might be in negative for you, but if you crack it, it's a gold mine in itself, right? So define what is your differentiation apart from just running ads. I don't think there's anything special about it. And founders who are hands-on, who have built businesses on digital, they know that it's not a differentiation anymore. Ads are mostly automated. As long as you control the signals, you will get the best out of it. Number 8, there are 3 new skills that you will work on, which I will talk about partly, but not entirely. Like I will not talk about prompt engineering in this masterclass. I'll not talk too much about creative feedback loops in this masterclass, right? But I feel that you need to have the right kind of inputs to get the maximum and the best quality output from an AI system, an AI tool. You need to think in ecosystems. This is what I will develop in you, or at least I will attempt to develop in you. By ecosystem thinking, I mean that don't restrict yourself just to one type of campaign, one type of creative, one platform. You have to understand the role a platform will play in your value chain. What role will a website play? What role will Google, Meta, probably CRO, retention? What role will these channels play in your line of work? Right? So to think in ecosystem, the more, and that's why I launched this full stack, right? My attempt is with full stack is to give you a view of all the channels so that you are able to think in ecosystem over the next few months. And building fast feedback loops. I think this is another very important skill that will help you to grow fast. Feedback loop is I put out a piece of content, let's say on Instagram. I should read the data whether it's doing well or not within 24 hours, and I should improvise looking at that data in the next post that I do. Short feedback loops. Something worked, why it worked, more of this. Something did not work. Have I done this enough number of times to conclude that it is not working? If yes, then maybe switch to a different idea. Same goes with ads, right? Like your messaging, the kind of performance marketing calendar that you make, the kind of activations you do. You need to have shorter feedback loops. Like I'll tell you how to run an effective promotion also. The way I did Black Friday was part of this approach, this strategy. But again, I will explain you how to build this shorter feedback loop. There's a lot of agility you need to have internally within the teams to get most out of this. After a point of time, you should be able to predict, right? If you're putting out a piece of content working for you or not. I will get into execution and frameworks of all of this, like I said. And we will, after today's session, we will try to stay away from theory as much as possible. And also look at examples and tasks and so on. So that is another reality. This will become cool. You can't just hack your way into these three skill sets. Performance marketing has evolved over the last few years, and you should know about this evolution because if you know that if it is evolving further, I've important to know the backstory of it. By the way, before I come to this slide, on a personal note, I want to share with you that I am a big fan of reading history of anything new that I get into. So if you ask me anything about how Google started, how did they got their first funding, who funded, who were the people in the first team that they made, mostly everything, I would know about it because I've done some reading around it. Same with Meta and so on. If I get into a new skill, same with performance marketing, I've seen over the last few years. Because the reason why it helps, or reason where it helps, is because when you see the evolution happening, you're able to connect the dots. You know the backstory of it, right? You know the some fundamentals will never change. This is more so true for Google. The some fundamentals will never change. Like keywords are important, they will continue to be important. Yeah, from automated, they will move to, sorry, from manual, they will move to automated. They are the cornerstone of how Google works. Right? So evolution and studying evolution, if you want to make a career, if you're a founder, then it's a different thing. Then you need to, of course, be into your product more than anything else. But if you're in marketing, I feel reading evolution is very, very important. It helps, definitely. But talking about performance marketing, we started from media buying era, manual targeting, like I said. Then we moved to algorithmic era. Lookalikes used to work well. If you don't know what lookalikes are, fine. Don't worry about it. But there was a time when we used to rely a lot on algorithm, that I will feed this to the algorithm and it will work for me. Now, in the last 3 years or so, 2 years or so, I would say, we have moved to signal first era, and I briefly spoke about it. And plus AI. Like I will not romanticize AI so much. I will tell you the reality where we are right now. With respect to AI, I will not predict much. I will tell you what is working right now. For example, AI-led video creatives are not working at the moment. Yeah, it would have worked for you for one or two creatives, but largely speaking, they are not working. Okay, they're working great for engagement, not working so well for sales, leads. or high quality leads. I've done it enough number of times now to tell you that don't make extravagant investment in AI led video creatives at the moment. So that is something which is little like in a nascent stage at the moment. But yeah, that's how the evolution is looking like of performance marketing from last few years. There are 12 rules, by the way. Number 10, there is no one size fit all performance marketing strategy. Okay. So don't expect that I will give you a playbook or a manual that you can apply in your business and things will start changing. No one has it. A lot of things you have to figure out when you are on this journey. That's why, when I get into a project and if I am not confident about a product, I will take one or two such examples also where we have got into a product where we were not confident, but we thought let's challenge ourselves and see whether we are able to crack it. When you are entering into such a product or a category, there is no playbook, there's no blueprint. You have to use, of course, what market is doing with a pinch of salt, but with your own understanding of the platform, understanding how audiences move in the funnel and so on, right? So whatever I will tell you, you don't have to copy paste it. Please do not. You still have to apply your own thinking of your own category. How mature is that category on digital? What has been your journey? What is your leverage that you want to play on? But what it will definitely help you with is the entire system and the steps within those systems. You do not make costly mistakes, right? That is something which I have attempted in the entire masterclass that you don't get into. But it's not like I will tell you I will open one fancy looking Google sheet or a framework where you just fill in the data, or I will open a Notion or a notebook in front of you, which has all the assets or SOPs, and you simply have to copy paste it. No, there's nothing of that sort. There's nothing of that sort that exists, right? Anyone can tell you anything. You have to improve. You need to know the steps and stages. Rest of it you improvise based on, like I said, your experience, your category, your budget, the market that you are getting into, and multiple more things. Number 11, almost no business struggles with performance marketing if they have figured out their content shit. I have not come across any such business, maybe hardly one or two in my entire career of 10 years, 11 years. Any business who knows how to create content that is engaging, that is sticky, that travels, usually does not struggle with performance marketing. Within performance marketing, they don't struggle with efficiency so much. They might still struggle to scale. Scaling is a very different skill set, but they will not struggle too much with efficiency. I'll show you 2 to 3 examples of such brands where we are still working, where they don't get stressed about return on ad spend so much. They are getting the return on ad spend where they are making. But yes, if they are doing 1,000 orders a month today, if they have to go to 1,500 orders, that's a different skill set. Their performance marketing can certainly help. The point I'm trying to make here, guys, is if you're a founder, if you have $100 to spend today, don't directly go and spend in ads. Spend in content systems. In fact, a lot of time, in fact, one entire session I will only dedicate into performance-led content and why it is usually step 2 for a business. Step 1 is organic. What works on your primary platform? Which is your primary platform? Is it Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, whatever it is? Pick up one platform. And again, I'm saying whatever I will teach and cover, you will be, if you have followed me closely, you will see that I have done the exact same thing. I'm mostly into one platform, right? The second platform where I have the most, I would say, or the highest reach is Threads, but I will not count it as a separate platform. But apart from that is LinkedIn. So when you see my content on LinkedIn, I create 90% of my content on LinkedIn is different from that of Instagram. I don't copy paste. I mean, maybe I do 10% of the times. Mostly I don't. That too, I copy when I see that a piece of content has done well on Instagram, then I will use it on LinkedIn as well. So you don't have, firstly, and as founders, you don't have to be present on all the platforms. I mean, you can be present, but you don't have to crack all the platforms in one go. Pick up one platform, invest time, energy, maybe some money behind it, to at least reach to a stage where you know that these 2 3 type of content pieces usually work for me. What is that content piece for me? Whenever I use that paper, pen, ipad, pencil, that content usually works. It may be that 3 content pieces out of 10 or 4 content pieces out of 10 get more than 100,000 reach. But I know the probability of that content traveling is a lot more versus me facing all the time or doing a talking head reel. So that is my style. I know if I do a brand dissection video, it will do well. If some of you have been following me for 2 years, I started getting initial traction when I started creating content on how much traffic XYZ website gets, which is a simple data pull from SEMrush. But the way I broke down and the way I presented the style, people liked it. So I did that for a good 1 year before I launched my own products, right? So the point is, if you have figured out your content, which means how to get attention, how to keep them engaged, and how to drive or how to monetize them primarily, then you pump money behind performance marketing. Then you see the magic. I'll show you my ads also. My current return on ad spend is 15. It was 25 when we started. Right now it is 15. And I'm very clear, I don't want to scale my ads a lot in India, because India, I already have good organic reach. That's why there are some ads we are running in different parts of the world. But I'm not dependent on it. If I pause all my ads tomorrow, nothing will change. Maybe, yeah, a few thousand rupees here and there. The business would be less, right? But nothing major will change. So I want you to reach at that inflection point. So if you start spending money big time, you have figured out your shit, you know what works, performance marketing will be relatively easier for you. And in all likelihood, you will not run in the efficiency challenge. This message, while it's true for D2C, it is more important if you're in the services business, like B2B or even EdTech, right? I've seen with B2B businesses targeting enterprise accounts or small businesses, SMBs. How do I target those people? Boss, your challenge is not how to target them. Your content is not traveling to those audiences. You can't just spend money and say that I want to reach out to enterprise accounts on LinkedIn. If you have that kind of money, please do it. But at the end of the day, you have to build your team in a way that creates content where your USP, your style travels to these kind of audiences. So when I meet, again, I will keep taking my example for now so that you understand better. My content is not targeted towards the students. I will not say that you will get a job if you take this product from me. You will never see me doing that. If someone asks me that, I say, I can make you capable. Finding a job is on you. So I know that is not my audience. I don't want to get into that at the moment. So my content will not appeal to them. I'll not say you will get 100% placement support. No. I know the people that I want to reach out to are people like yourself. And that's why the content is a little, right? So just keep this in mind that if you are a founder, if you have some time and patience, you have $100, $1,000, $10,000, whatever that money you have to spend. Don't directly go and spend in ads and then build a perception that it doesn't work for me. The backbone of your advertising ecosystem is content. And you learn the content game through organic first, because your feedback loops are smaller. And then you get into paid side of things. If you're on the agency side, I know you can't do anything about this. If the brand or client understands, great. If they don't, you can't do the convincing of making them understand. I've been part of such discussions. If they understand it, great. If they don't, then you do your job. Try to get results from them with the help of ads. Otherwise, you can't do anything else beyond that, right? Finally, attribution in 2026 is a joke. You know what attribution is? If you don't know, let me explain. Attribution basically is I want to know the entire journey a user is taking online before they buy my product. So someone discovered my product through a meta ad first, then they did a Google search, came to my website, then they subscribed to email, They went through my newsletter. They again came to my website directly and bought something. I want to track this entire user journey. A lot of people, I don't know why, are in love with tracking this entire user journey. What will you do of this data? What will you do? I mean, attribute. So this entire tracking of journey is called attribution. And I want to attribute credit to each and every channel wherever it has played the role of creating interest or conversion. Attribution over the last 5 years has changed a lot. Primary reason is user privacy. Okay. Uh, Platforms, devices, operating systems are going hard behind user privacy, which breaks the backbone of attribution. You don't have to understand it. If you don't, it's fine. But what I'm trying is that don't fall in love with, I want to track the entire user journey. I'm telling you, brands that spend big on digital, don't worry too much about tracking the entire user journey. What they care about is incrementality. If I was getting 100 orders a week, whether I moved the needle from 100 to 110 or not. And if I moved, at what cost? So there are some businesses where I'm part of where if the founder understands digital, they don't even look at Meta or Google ads or performance anymore. They just look at something called CM2. You know what CM2 is? CM2 is contribution margin 2 in a PNL, in a business PNL, which tells you this, whether there has been an incrementality or not. And if there has been, then at what cost? Now, if you got the incrementality from a Google ad or a Meta ad or a marketplace or a quick commerce, they don't care. As long as the margin is protected and the cost is under control. If the gross margin is under control, it's fine. So a lot of businesses which are built on marketplaces, quick commerce, or even D2C, the decision makers don't worry too much about what is my campaign X ROAS on Meta, because they know that it's very dynamic. It can work today, it may stop working tomorrow. Okay. That is what incrementality is. And that's why I want you, in fact, if you have some experience of ads, if you don't, of course I will cover it. But if you have some experience, you would have noticed that even Google and Meta don't talk much about attribution now. Google used to talk about it a lot. In fact, it's 6 attribution models in GA4. Now I think it has 2 or 3. 3. Now it has 3. That too, Google is focusing very hard on data-driven attribution. Again, which I'll explain what that is. But I don't want you to get too much carried away about user journey. I don't think you can really take high quality calls by attribution data. However, there is an outlier to this. If you're working, if at all you get a chance to work for a business that goes behind top of the funnel campaigns, like I want to do awareness campaigns I want to create awareness and run awareness ads on YouTube, Meta, programmatic ads, and all of that, right? Over there, you might want to track attribution still, because if someone discovers your brand today, they might still buy from your website 2 weeks, 30 days, 60 days down the line. So when you check the efficiency of your top of the funnel channel, you might want to see that this user came into my system from a YouTube masthead ad or a YouTube non-skippable ad, and they converted over a period of whatever, 2 weeks, 30 days, 60 days. So if I'm working for a brand that is going big in top of the funnel, then I would use a attribution solution. Otherwise, and by attribution solution, I mean I will integrate a third-party attribution tool like a Triple Whale or any other. But otherwise, I would not. That is the difference between attribution and incrementality. Okay. Now let me just read through your questions and see if I have to answer. Will you be elaborating on signals? Yes, I will be. The challenge is the production. I have my strategy and content points ready, but don't know how to produce content. You produce content yourself, Krishna. If you want to get started, or you hire someone who does it for you, you can. I mean, we work. This is a very common challenge, by the way. I'll give you an example. There's a jewelry brand that we used to, and it was mostly started by a founder who's like 55 plus. So of course he can't create content, right? So The deal was that we will get about 20 to 25 UGC creators who will make content throughout the year for them. So 25 contracts were signed with different UGC creators. And there were deliverables decided, there were KPIs decided. So production is not really you do not need high production today. You do not essentially need a very well produced content. It doesn't work, in fact. Your content needs to look raw. It needs to appeal to your audiences. And the moment your content is too polished, it usually becomes a challenge. Unless you already have a strong, pull. Like for example, when I create content, well, you will see my ads, video ads, they will be well produced ads. Because people, at least the most of the people who will see my ad know me, right? But I will talk more about this, Krishna, in the content strategy approach. What type of content pieces you should be creating, how to create them, and how to evaluate them as well. I'll give you some of those ideas of the content also, which are working in today's time. Will knowing the journey not help in targeting those channels hit points from where the no, it does not. Trying to understand from both D2C, it generally see Rahul. I mean, if I think about it logically, it makes sense. But when you look at data in quantum, right, you hardly are able to make a decisive call by looking at data in quantum. What happens is if you are running a top funnel campaign, awareness campaign, then like I said, then you should have a solution. That too, if you're running at a big scale. But if all your campaigns are conversion led, the discovery in all likelihood is happening from ads. So your data will also show you that. Plus, if you are writing newsletters, you have email subscribers, maybe the second channel is email. 30-40% of the audiences are reading your emails. And then probably they're coming back to your website and shopping. But what will you do of that data? Generally, if ads are leading to more discovery, then you will take a call that I should run more awareness-led ads. And that is where it becomes problematic. Because awareness-led ads is not only running ads on awareness with a different objective. You have to have a full approach around how will someone discover my brand? What will be the duration of my awareness campaign? What will be the frequency at which I want to reach out to users? Because awareness is created at a certain frequency, right? If I'm seeing your ad, if I see in 2 weeks, I will not remember because I see hundreds of ads every day. So I should see your ad 3, 4, 5 times a week for me to remember, right? So mathematically, it should make sense, Rahul. But I'm telling you, when you have this data in front of you, if you are looking to take black and white calls, the moment you will take black and white calls, it will shatter. The entire system will stop working for you. More so because of user privacy reasons, almost 20-30% of user behavior is anyway not tracked. So that's why I'm not a big fan of this. If you see where the user starting point was, I need to double down on that, it starts underperforming. Unless you say that I want to create larger top of the funnel of a new category, of a new product into a new market, then it's a different story. Yeah. Is it CM2 that you mentioned? Yeah. Contribution margin too. I mean, these terms are top of my mind because some of you might know that I'm launching this finance literacy for marketers on demand masterclass in February. So I'm working on decoding how marketeers should read gross margin, cost of goods sold, CM2, CM1, and why ROAS is not a great metric if you are doing boardroom discussions. When I started my career, I started as an SEO executive. But when I left, I was managing 15, 16 brands, their entire portfolio, right? And this happened in 8, 9 years. I realized that if I was only good at hard skills of generating good ROAS or CAC, I wouldn't have reached that stage because there are multiple people who can do it. It's about how you do business conversation with C-level executives, and therefore you need to understand some of these terms, especially if you are an experienced marketer. But yeah, CM2 is what I mentioned. If I don't know user journey, especially for B2B, how do we decide to spend more? You decide to spend more where it's converting. We have moved from that stage of awareness, consideration, conversion. No, people don't move in funnels. People don't move that linearly anymore. You spend basis on where you are getting sales. In most of the cases, I recommend not even to don't even run an awareness campaign if you don't have appetite for it. In today's time, these platforms are smart enough to scale your conversion led approaches or campaigns. However, you can still get to know at a platform level. Let's say only on Meta, I want to know how many new users came to my website from Meta in last 7 days. That you should look at. But understand the definition of attribution, Praveen. If you are spending money on 5 platforms, then you might want to look at attribution. You're spending like multiple crores, and you want to look at that data. You want to do lift studies and so on. If you're spending 50 lakhs, 60 lakhs, 70 lakhs, it's honestly nothing, right? Um, and I believe that if you are, by nothing I mean for a scalable, stable business, it's nothing. So if you're at that stage, just relying on maybe 2 or 3 channels, just looking at platform level data is good enough for you to decide where to increase or decrease your spends. And I'm telling you, you install Triple Whale or you install any attribution tool. First of all, it will give you half-baked reality because most of the user behavior is anyway not tracked, right? Again, why it's not tracked, you should know, like iOS 14 user privacy, they don't pass the events back to the ad platforms or to these tools. Now, if you are looking at half-baked data, and if you want to take calls of spends, like you're managing capital on someone else's behalf, which is it's a very critical job to do. But if you are taking calls based on that data, it usually will backfire in today's time because you're looking at half-baked data. Plus, people do not move in funnels anymore. See, I might buy a product today if I like it, even if it is slightly higher price point. When I was looking for when on my website, when I was looking for a payment gateway solution for my website, I did a Google search. I don't care which payment gateway it is as long as it is cheap for me. I did a Google search, Razorpay appeared first. I wanted to link an Indian bank account, got in touch with, told them about my volume. They told me whatever percentage they will charge. I don't care. Like, I will not do a research on LinkedIn and ask Chat GPT and all of that, right? Usually, people do not move in those. Plus, the other reason, yeah, very important, is that we are moving towards zero-click world. People don't want to click on links because they get responses from Chat GPT, Google AI Overview, Perplexity, and so on, right? Gemini and so on. So I might come across your brand from these tools. I read up your brand name, but then I went on Google and made a Google search. And you read attribution data and you think, wow, Google got me this discovery and conversion. No, it was not Google. Probably it was an AI tool. And because no one clicked on a link, there's no attribution that happened. Right? That's why, because of these reasons, I feel that it's not worth it. Plus, the primary reason I'm telling you, when you see the data at quantum, right, it will be very obvious data for you. Yeah, I know that this platform will drive discovery because almost everyone is on Google and Meta. Like, what's so special about it? How do we identify which channel influence? Okay, I answered this question. Attribution and incrementality, I explained this, Krishna. Incrementality can come from various places at the same time. We need to know from where that incrementality is coming. Don't they go ahead? Yes, you need to know, but you do not. By the way, guys, you are getting so carried away by attribution. Do you do attribution in the current scheme of things? How do you do attribution? If you're telling you do attribution with GA data, then of it. How do you do attribution in the current ecosystem? I don't think attribution and incrementality go hand in hand. I believe your conversion data and your incrementality goes hand in hand. Right? I don't think, see, as long as, like I said, as long as I know that I spent $100 on Meta this month, it got me 5 new users, first time transactors on my website, I'm good. Now, if I get into where they discover my brand, maybe on a Chat GPT, you can't even track that if there are no clicks happening. Right? So, as long as I know that which platform is helping me to get new users and what is my conversion data for new users, I think I'm good. And these 2 platforms hold more than 80% of your audiences, right? But like I said, there is only one outlier. If I'm doing large scale awareness campaign, you know, because what happens, and I'll talk about one or two use cases later, but one example I want to give you, that if you do large scale awareness campaign, you will run ads on something called YouTube masthead. You know what YouTube masthead is? The first ad you see when you open YouTube, if you are not a premium subscriber, that gets millions of impressions every hour. So if I want to know that how many of them clicked on the ad, came to my website and converted in next 7 days, yes, then I would want to know. Maybe they came through a YouTube masthead, was the website, downloaded my app, or went to the to Google and then converted. If I want to see the efficiency of that top ad on YouTube, then I will not do it only at a CTR level. Then I will implement a solution. But you know how expensive that top banner is? I'll tell you when I reach YouTube, right? YouTube module. Or if I'm doing a buy inventory on programmatic ads, DV360, I'm doing top of the funnel moment maker campaigns on Meta. I'm sure you guys really know what this is, because typically brands spending crores and crores get into that conversation. So I'll talk about it, but I will not recommend any new to mid scale business to get into it. Yeah, that brings us to the end of the first half of what I want to cover. The second half is relatively smaller. I think it will be done in 20 minutes to 30 minutes. But let's take a small break. It's 7:29 p.m. in my clock. We will resume at 7:33. Okay. So 4 minutes break. Meanwhile, any questions, let me know. I hope you are understanding what I'm saying. Even if it is slightly heavier at the moment, it's absolutely fine, because when I talk about the platforms, I will start from grassroots level and we'll talk about the logic. I will go on the dashboards. I will tell you how thinking works, what frameworks you can use. I will give you tasks also. Even today, I'll give you a task to work on. But at the moment, so far, I wanted to tell you the reality of performance marketing so far. I hope you have been able to understand at least 50-60% of it. Even if you understood that, it's good. We'll take a small break. We'll resume in 4 minutes. Yes. Are we ready to resume? Any questions? Let me see. I missed half of the class. Is it possible for recordings? Yeah, recordings will be shared. But like I said in the beginning of the session, 48 hours after the session is conducted, we'll be sharing the recordings in a Google Drive link. And I hope, Altaf, you have signed up for the entire masterclass. So you will get the access to the recordings. All right, great. Superb, guys. So we will we'll resume from here. All right, now the next thing I want to tell you before we wrap up today's session are the three global shifts which are happening in performance marketing. These are relevant shifts that all of us should know about. And all of us should also keep ourselves updated what these updates are, what these shifts are. There's a privacy shift that has happened over the last few years. It is still happening. And probably the platforms will continue to focus more. Platforms, devices, operating systems will continue to, AI models also will continue to focus on privacy to a large extent. More on this in the coming slides. Then there's an AI disruption which is happening. And you have cross-channel journeys which are happening as well. Let's talk about this one by one. Let's talk about privacy shifts first. I believe if you're working in performance marketing, or even if you're a founder um, who is looking to build a business on digital, you should know about the data regulations in the markets wherever you are present. More so a performance marketer, because you are responsible to acquire users from different countries or different geographies. So you should have a fairly good idea of what these regulations are. Not everything, of course. I'm not asking you to be a compliance specialist, but you should know how, like, what are regulations or rules with respect to capturing user data, using it, storing it. You should have good understanding of that so that you don't end up being in hot soup if things fall apart. And if things fall apart in this scenario, it usually hurts a business financially. Okay. Um, like I feel you should know what GDPR is. CCPA is mostly relevant if you are in US and you're running some ads there. It's called California, some act that you should know about. India, you should know data protection bill, what it is, and how it impacts your business. If you're in UAE, you should know UAE data laws, at least the basics of it. If I'm at your place, I'm just gonna Google these compliance documents, put it under like Chat GPT or any of these tools, and I will just ask it to summarize it from marketing standpoint. That is it. That is it that you should know about. You should not be absolutely blank. If you're working somewhere, expect that this question may be asked from you if you're going in an interview. If you're going to interview and if the brand is a multinational brand, if they are present in multiple geographies. Like there's one pharmaceutical brand that I'm working with. It is the biggest one in India at the moment, internationally as well in some geographies. I was doing some hiring for them for emerging markets. For them, emerging markets were markets like Singapore and Sri Lanka and few other markets like that. So for them, like they wanted me to assess individuals on their understanding of these regulations and laws. Larger conglomerates usually would want to know if you are fairly aware about these laws, right? And there, from marketing standpoint, the regulations are broken down into four parts. One is consent and transparency. Then you have right to control and access, purpose limitation, and data monetization and storage limits. Consent and transparency is that um, somewhere on your website, you should explain what data is collected, why is it collected, and how it will be used. It could be under your privacy policy also. It's fine. So that tomorrow, if there's a complaint, you should be able to, tell any regulatory authority that you have listed how the data will be used on your website publicly. See, if you're working for a small or mid-scale business, you might not have a compliance team. Plus, if you're working for a non-regulated category like fashion, jewelry, some services also, then you might not fall under a regulation as such, right? But there are categories like insurance or BFSI and so on, which are highly regulated. So they do it anyway. They usually have a compliance team or a compliance manager. But otherwise, also, if you're a small or mid-scale business, someone should do it. In my company, I do it. But someone should just make sure that how you are collecting data, how it will be used, like cookie banners. You would have seen when you go on websites, a cookie banner appears that you want to accept cookies, partially accept cookies, or do not want to accept cookies. There's that message that comes up. If you're asking for email IDs, phone numbers, you should be clear to what purpose will it be used. Then you have right to control and access, which means that someone asks you to correct their data or even download it, delete it, users should have that control from their my account section. Then purpose limit. I mean, if you're just getting started, it's fine, but I feel that eventually you will have to do this because one wrong foot here will be problematic. I've done a lot of studies, especially for India and UAE, because my company is registered in UAE, from where I do education now. So I had to do a lot of understanding of how UAE was work, right? So I think it's important. Purpose limitation is data can only be used for the specific purpose for which you are collecting it. So if someone is giving you data for billing purpose, you can't use it for marketing unless you take consent from them somewhere on your website. Just take care of these nuances. I feel are important. I mean, in GDPR, there is this law that you should use minimum amount of data as minimum as possible, and not just like 5 or 10 fields. Collect data which is important for you and your business, like phone number and so on. So if you will see my website, for people who have shopped from my website, I am not asking for your address. I am not asking for anything which like pin code, all of that, because my ads are running in multiple geographies. So I will ask your name, first name, last name, your phone number, and I will ask you to create an account on my website so that you can edit your details later. Now, there was this lot of questioning that happened internally between the teams. I hired a tech team building the website, that should we really ask people to create an account in today's time when people can log in through OTP? But that is true for India. In many countries, you still have to ask people to create account so that they can edit their account details, right? I said that it's better to have that one level of friction and be compliant instead of just thinking India at the moment, right? So you need to have some understanding. In my case, I did it myself at the moment, but I'm contemplating on hiring a compliance expert as well as we expand outside India. And you should know the penalties also. Like the penalties are big if you go wrong here. And the reason why I'm telling you about this in this masterclass is because when things go wrong, usually performance marketer is caught first. That you didn't know that you were running ads in this geography. This could be the implication. I mean, the implications you see on the screen are on the higher side, but it could be painful. Okay. What are the implications of this on performance marketing in particular? Firstly, I feel that a business needs to create like your plan to have or capture first party data should be non-negotiable. You can't rely on ad platforms all the time. You should have a system and a reason. System is not anything very smart about. You can use any tool you want, but you should give reason for people to come into your ecosystem by subscribing to something. It could be email, WhatsApp, whatever it is. Again, in that case, you would have seen I do these posts on Instagram where you comment something and you get a link for it. And in some cases, you have to sign up to my community to get access to the guide or playbook, whatever I'm giving. Why am I doing that? Right? Like it said while I was introducing myself, there are about 24,000 people that are part of the community, but I have 25,000 email IDs which are outside of that, where people have specifically subscribed to the newsletter I used to write 2-3 years back before I started using NAS.io. So if I have 240K followers, I have 50,000 email IDs also, which I can send an email and share my view, sell a product, whatever I want to do immediately. Right? So I believe that if you are running a business, you have to give reasons to people to become part of your ecosystem. It could be community also, by the way. community is not part of this masterclass, but I feel that you either do product-led growth or you do community-led growth. Very few businesses do both. Just start with community-led growth and then expand into product, like me. Okay. What is community? Community is where you are getting like-minded people, a tribe together at one place. They can talk to you, they can talk to each other also, and you are playing the role of being an enabler in that case, right? So that is also a very strong reason for people to subscribe to you. Okay. I mean, the biggest of the communities. Look at, like, my favorite community is Sephora. I know it's the biggest brand out there, but Sephora has its own community platform, if you notice, which started offline first and then they scaled online. You can read through that case study. I read it in one of the HBR books. I don't know which one. Maybe, I don't know, strategic thinking. I don't know. But you should read about, if you're interested in community building, you should read Sephora case study. Very interesting. The second implication on performance marketing, because of user privacy reasons, is that you have to have content-based personalization, which means, sorry, consent-based personalization, which means that it does add a little bit of friction in user journey. Okay. So I will show you one of the e-commerce funnels that we used to follow, we still follow, but how the numbers have changed over the last 3 years. So if my home page to category page rate, generally, I'm talking about e-commerce at the moment, home page to category page rate for a mass D2C product, let's say skincare in this case, was benchmark was, let's say, 45%. Now it has reduced to, the benchmark is reduced to 38, 37%. One of the reasons is this cookie-based banner and personalization and taking consent and all of that, right? People usually get a little bit careful. So there is some impact of this as well. This largely holds true if you are running campaigns outside of India. Then the third thing is you need to understand, and I will talk a lot more about server-side tracking as well in the coming sessions. You know what is server-side tracking? Some of you might know about it. But what is tracking? Tracking is where you track what users are doing on your website, either at a browser level or at a server level. Browser is Google Chrome and Safari and all of that, right? Or you do it at a server level, which means if a user is coming to my website, I want to track what they are doing at my website server level. So tracking is of two types, browser and server. User privacy has big impact on browser level tracking, almost on server level tracking. Okay, this is slightly technical topic. That's why I'll be picking it up, I think, in the 7th or 8th session. But you need to understand how CAPI works, which is Conversion API of Meta, why it's important. It captures what people are doing on your website at a server level directly. There is no impact or no role of what browser people are using, but it can capture limited events. There is something called enhanced conversion on Google, which is again similar to Conversion API of Meta. There is something called GA4 server-side tag. For TikTok, there are separate events API. I will give you a view of it, but as a performance marketer, it's not important for you to learn how to implement it. Implementation is usually done by a developer here because you will not have access to your server as a marketer. But you should know why it's important, at what stage you should implement server-side tracking, and um, and you should know, or someone in your team should know how to test whether it's working or not. It's okay if you don't understand it right now. Right now, I just want you to understand tracking what people are doing on your website is done in two ways, browser and server. At the moment, you don't have to choose either or. You have to do both. These platforms are smart enough to break down or to deduplicate whether when a user comes to your website, if the action is tracked from browser and from server, there is no duplication that happens. They are able to dedupe it. You don't have to worry about that. At the moment, I want you to just understand this much. Forget about this CAPI and GA4 server side. We'll come to that. Right? So for the longest time, until 3-4 years back, brands only used to do browser side tracking. They had the option of server-side tracking also for the longest period of time, but no one really thought about it because browser used to give the right data, accurate data, almost accurate data, and no one really worried about it. But after iOS 14, again, you can do a bit of reading to understand what iOS 14 update was. The world of performance marketing changed after iOS 14, especially in markets like US, where iOS market is bigger. If you don't want to understand, it's fine. At the moment, like I said, you have to remember tracking done in two ways, browser, server. Both are important. You have to do both. And then I will explain conversion API and enhanced conversion on Meta and Google when I reach the tracking module. I'll show it to you on dashboard also. But don't worry too much about how it is implemented. You don't have to implement. I'll show you how to extract the information and send it to your developer. Your developer is responsible to implement it. You can't do it unless you have understanding of APIs and so on, endpoint of APIs and so on, right? The second thing is AI disruption. Now, according to me, if I have to contextualize AI with respect to performance marketing, there are three shifts which are still happening. One is platform specific AI, then you have generative AI, and then you have predictive AI. So my narrative of AI will revolve around these three. Platform specific AI is anything that you see on Meta, Google, TikTok, where you can run AI driven campaigns, where AI does today on major platforms like Google and Meta. If you want, AI can do everything for you. As long as you have a website and you have money to spend, AI can automate your entire campaign setup if you want. Does it do a good job? In some categories, it does. And for some price point, it does. But for others, not so much. Like for my product, it will not. I know. Okay. So when I move towards low AOV, high AOV, and all of those explanations, I will tell you where it works. At the moment, I just want to set the tone. Platform specific AI is the AI options you see within these platforms. Generative AI is where these platforms generate creatives, messaging, content, personalization with the help of AI. And Google is doing a kick-ass job here. If you use Google Ads, if you run Google Ads, you would have seen, if you have not seen, I will show you when I present the dashboard in the Google module. But let me tell you that today Google has integrated Gemini and Veo within Google Ads. So you can generate images, you can generate text to image, you can generate, you can do image to video also, or you can generate text to video also in today's time, all under Google Ads dashboard. The output cases it is good, in some cases you might not be confident, but I feel output quality is the function of time. I think AI has moved really fast in the last 1 year. It will get even better in probably another year's time. So making creatives is there's nothing special about it. I feel that the job of graphic designers is in danger. It will not wipe out, but I feel that if you needed 5 designers in your team, probably you will need 1 or 2. So the of people you require will definitely go down because the base creatives, key visuals can be created by AI. You will still need a graphic designer to probably polish it, at least for another year. We don't know what will happen after that, right? But I'll show you on Google Ads dashboard that you can do basic edits. You can adjust the brightness, you can add text on the video, on the image yourself. So if you have some design understanding, you can do it yourself as well. But the world is moving really fast with generative AI. Understand this also, generative AI is not a skill. Generative AI is a mechanism that you use to create messaging, personalization. Like for example, again, when I reach there, I'll show you, but personalization is done, you know how personalization happens with Meta, more so with Google. Meta is capable of personalizing an ad for every user. So if you see my ad, you might see a different creative or maybe same creative with a different messaging, call to action, caption. And another might see the same creative with a different messaging, different caption, different CTA. However, I have not set the campaign like that. So Meta is capable of personalizing the messaging, the image, the music, the CTA at a user level now, which I'll show you when I explain something called Advantage Plus Creative later. So it is becoming really smart, and you need to ride this wave. You can't be stringent about it. Third is predictive AI. Predictive AI is AI that is used to predict the next audience behavior, which you to get click and conversion. And whatever clicks and conversion you get, the data feeds back to your ads ecosystem. So it becomes like a flywheel. So your bidding, your audience expansion, absolutely fine if you don't understand bidding and audience expansion at the moment. But I'm telling you, when you come across these terms, it falls under predictive AI because it predicts who will be the people who will convert with your messaging, with your ad. So if you're going for an interview, don't just say AI. Break it down like this and tell me get the job. If you fuck up anywhere else, I can't help, but at least you will not fuck up here. This is how leadership views AI. I have done this presentation enough number of times with biggest brands that you can think of, at least in India. But the point is that you should understand AI is not like it's not a solution to everything. While it can do, but you should, like I said initially, right? You should look at AI as a junior intern that you have hired. You will still need an eye or guidance that you will have to provide. The impact of this on performance marketing, however, these three shifts which are happening, is that you are losing control at a micro level. Gone are the days where you say on Google, I want to choose these keywords. You know what keywords are? Let me know if you don't know. I'll explain, but I'm assuming most of you know. Gone are the days where you will say, I will run my ads on these keywords in particular, especially if your market is 5 or 10 cities or maybe pan country, India or any other country. Gone are those days. Like the more you intervene with the machines, the more painful your result will be. Gone are those days. Gone are the days where you would do audience splits. You would do, I want to reach out to people who have this behavior on Google Meta. You should still do ICP exercise. You know what ICP is? Your customer persona, ideal customer persona exercise. You should know for which audience you are creating or making a creative. But you should not go on the platforms with the intent of specifically targeting that audience. Because in most cases, it will not work. There are still one or two outliers, by the way. But in most cases, it will not work. Outliers are basically hyper-local campaigns. Like if I have very limited geography, then of course I will choose that geography and the searches which are happening in that geography, right? But otherwise, manual testing, all of that. Manual testing you can still do for one or two categories, but largely it doesn't work. The second impact on performance marketing is that I believe that the role of marketers is shifting from operating campaigns to signal architect. Signal, like I said, right? I briefly explained it. I'll talk about it more in the coming sessions, but you have to understand what input I can give to the machine. By machine, I mean these ad systems here that helps the machine to find the right audience for me. I'm the pilot now. I'm not an operator. I'm a pilot. I'm going to sit and give directions to the machine, to AI, broken down into those three AI parameters, which I explained you in the last slide. And strategy is still the mode. I believe strategy will always be the mode. Like there are few things. You understand what mode is? Mode is a differentiation, which cannot be challenged by competition easily. Right? A good strategy will be a more like few things I believe will be more like good strategy, good design, good customer experience will always be more to businesses, even in the age of AI. And therefore, the value of someone who can build a strategy by using their experience and judgment is going to be extremely important, like very, very high value skill set. But you can't do it if you have just done like campaigns for one brand or two brands. I'm talking to marketing folks here. Right. So I feel that is where the marketing ecosystem will move. So wherever I'm working, where the intent of the leadership team is to uh, prune the marketing team or sharpen the marketing team, they want to hire more of strategists, not operators so much. Maybe the value of strategists is a lot more. Operators are fine if you have one or two people who can run campaigns. Even if they go, even if they leave, you'll find someone else. Okay. Your creative quality and signals I've already spoken, so I'll not spend much time here. And creative also I've already spoken. Whatever I wanted to speak in this session. But a combination of these two things is your new competitive edge in today's time. And agencies and freelancers who only execute will have time. Will face. I believe I'm in the middle of brands and agencies, right? I believe agency is a tough business, man. It's a really tough business. Like you compete against like hundreds of other agencies. How do you differentiate? Plus, you in most of the cases you are also playing a gamble. You don't know whether things will work or not. If it works, great. If it doesn't, the client goes away. You have pressure of client churn. It's a very different kind of stress, which I have seen how agencies go through. Therefore, I believe the shifts which I recommended to agencies some time back will be important. Like this, what you see, this AI literate talent is a genuine skill set that brands are building towards. Um, and I think I can absolutely talk about it because I'm conducting this session next week. I'm doing a session for Unilever next week for India and some emerging markets where they want to make their leadership team AI literate. Like the sessions are called uh, Clarity in the Tsunami of AI. So I'm leading the marketing training there. And it's not only about Unilever. I have done this for other brands as well. But the thought process of leadership is that either literate them or ask them to leave. Train them if they are coachable, train them, see how they do in 6 months, evaluate them. If they are not picking up, ask them to leave. And I am doing this for some of the brands. I'm responsible to do this activity. I don't like doing, but you have to do because you're part of the larger mandate with the brand, right? So I believe this is going to be a legit skill, which I'm also thinking how I can help people at mass, at scale. But at the moment, I'm doing it for very specific corporates. So AI is not replacing marketers. It's replacing mediocre execution for sure. And your value is in strategy, is in system design, is in signal quality. And these three things I will be breaking down in the entire masterclass. But I always would recommend you, at least for the next 2 or 3 sessions, to the sessions, keep these points in mind. If you want, just skim through it quickly before you join the sessions, because my thought process will stem from these points that I have just mentioned. The last thing is cross-channel journeys. Consumers are no longer converting. Um, uh, I feel that consumers, again, it could be different for different categories. But if you're working in high AOV, B2B, SaaS products, educational brand, if you're looking to build a brand from scratch, the consumer journey will from one platform to the other. They'll move across Meta, Search, YouTube, WhatsApp, Amazon, email, and so on. Even offline, if you have an offline store. So at the end of the day, I feel it's important for you to realize that the user journey will happen across multiple platforms. And another layer I would add, like I said, is zero-click search, which is happening at the moment, right? People don't like to click on links and they will get the information from these AI platforms. So I believe, therefore, if you're just optimizing towards a single channel, or you're just, I would say rather you're present on single channel, it will be a problematic scenario for you in future. Therefore, I cover 2 channels in this masterclass, but at the same time, I tell you how they are connected with each other. The more you spend on Meta, the more you go aggressive on Meta, you will have a spillover on Google. But how to track it and how to take advantage of it, right, is something which I feel that you should know about. When if I'm working on a brand where I'm tasked to activate Google, because most of the brands start with Meta, especially in D2C. But Google, they are just present or they are not doing anything on Google. So instead of getting too aggressive into the category searches keywords, the first intent is to capture the demand that already exists of their best selling product and of their brand. at least for first month or 2 months, so that we get high quality signals and data within Google Ads ecosystem, and then we scale it from there, right? Uh, and therefore, to understand the role that every channel will play in your ecosystem. Like Meta will build demand, Google will capture intent, retention channels will monetize it. And the more channel over a period of time, the more channels you are able to add under each of this, better your like more scalable your system becomes. For example, if I can create demand with Meta, but also tomorrow with TikTok, if I'm outside India. If I'm in India, then probably with YouTube Shorts is my second platform, which will create demand for me. But do I have a to capture the demand or even to measure it? If I don't have, like, what are those KPIs I should look at? Whether this demand generation approach is working for me or not, right? Those things you need to understand. And each of the channels have their own roles to play. For example, again, I'll take my example, it will be easier for you to understand. The newsletters that I write, the emails I send out, 90% of those emails do not sell any product. The value I try to provide with emails is that this is my view on something happening today. If you want to buy, a small CT at the bottom, or you can just figure it out how to buy. But 90% of my emails, 10% I will still do promotions, but 90%, the role of a newsletter in my entire communication value chain is to sell this product, a high ticket size product. Because someone who has to buy a high ticket size product, they will not only be convinced with your Instagram content, they need more. They need to get exposed to your long form content. So long form content could either be YouTube, newsletter. I chose newsletter consciously because I knew that I will not be able to do justice to YouTube. Even now, I'm not creating actively on YouTube because I know that it requires like proper commitment, which at the moment I can't get into. But I will still do long form content, and 30, 35, 40,000 people is a good size already for me to create that trust. Okay. And a lot of businesses are moving from, like I said, channel based ROAS to blended CAC. Blended CAC is at the overall level what my customer cost is. And usually when I do consulting, I introduce a new concept or a new term rather, not a concept, called payback horizon. Payback horizon is another term for customer lifetime value. Okay, more on this in the next slide. I'll give you an example of this in the next slide, payback horizon. And brands that orchestrate these channels usually see growth much better instead of just looking at this campaign had this ROAS, what can we do next? Yes, there are some ways by which you can optimize, but always have a larger aspect of what is happening and what are the levers that you can pull. Payback horizon is something as a founder, I feel, or if you're an agency that owns the marketing funnel entirely, you should know about it. What is payback horizon? Payback horizon is the time it takes for you to recover the cost of acquiring a customer through the profit it generates. So instead of just asking what is my ROAS, which you can ask in your weekly conversations, but at least at a monthly level, you should ask how long before I break even on this customer, start making a profit. For example, if you acquired 100 customers, let's say I acquired 100 customers in Black Friday sale. How soon can I break even and make profit out of it? Now, in my model, I made profit in the first transaction itself. But in some models, your customer acquisition cost could be very high. So even if you're not making money when someone buys from you for the first time, you should know how many touch points or what time it takes for you to make money from the users, 100 users that you have acquired in a month or in a particular sale. It's a long journey. It's usually a minimum of 6-month journey. But the point is that if I'm acquiring certain set of users, I should know that at what cost have I acquired them, and what is the margin I am getting out of it. And if I'm making minimal profit or no profit, then when will I be able to make a profit out of it? And what is the intervention I need to do to make profit? Is it product intelligence? Is it category intelligence? Is it value content, educational content? Is it human touch point? What is it? It could be different for different categories, right? For example, again, I'm just trying to explain the payback horizon with the help of numbers. If you are selling a D2C skincare product, it could be any product, by the way. It could be another category also. Understand the calculation here. If you're selling a D2C skincare product and you spent 1200 rupees, it could be any other currency also. For ease of understanding, I'm saying rupees. If you spend 1200 rupees to acquire a customer, which bought products worth 900 rupees on your website, and if your gross margin is 60%, so your profit from the first order is 540 rupees, right? Simple calculation. On day one, you lost money because you acquired the customer in 900 rupees, but you made only 540 rupees. So you're losing money. Your CAC is more than your profit. Okay. And let's say, for example, 40% of these customers or 30%, 40% is very normal in D2C category. But let's say 40% of these customers come back to you in the next either 30 days or 60 days or 90 days. For ease of calculation, I'm saying 30 days. But when they buy again, their ticket size goes up. Even if it is same, it's fine. But let's say it goes up. I'm trying to explain you the logic and calculation here. Let's say they buy for 1500 rupees now, the second order. Now your profit from the second order is 900 rupees, which is 60% of 1500 because they bought items worth 1500, right? I'll show it to you in Excel format also later when I reach there. So total profit from within 30 days is close to about 1400 rupees, but your CAC was 1200 rupees. At least your payback horizon, you know, is 30 days. Now, this is different for different categories. Now, when you're working in a B2B SaaS scenario, it may be that you lose money in the first subscription, first monthly subscription. But if they buy an yearly plan, you make money out of it. In my case, the profit is there from the first transaction itself. But if you're working in high AOV, high AOV category in D2C, let's say if I'm selling a skincare product which is priced at 1500 rupees, I may have to spend a lot of money, especially if I'm new, to acquire a customer. Plus, my gross margins will also be lower because I will give discounts in all likelihood to get the customer into my ecosystem. The point is, I want you to at least, if you're a founder, great, look at what is your payback horizon, at least for the last 1 year if you can. This is an exercise we do as well when you start working with a new brand. You look at your repeat purchases, which gives you a fairly good understanding. You look at your CAC data, which I'll show you. All of this I'll show you. Don't worry. You look at your CAC data and you try to estimate that even if I acquire, let's say at the moment the business is acquiring a customer at 1000 rupees, even if I acquire at 1200 rupees, in the larger scheme of things of 6 months journey, we will still be able to make profit. Only then you are able to build a scalable approach. You're understanding? If you're getting 100 orders and you're spending, let's say, $1,000 for those 100 orders, to move it to 200 orders, you can't simply make it 2000. Or even if you want to increase the spends, there has to be a logic behind it. When you will increase the spends, your ROI will shrink. It will go down. That's the nature of the platform. The moment you increase your spends, platforms start finding new audiences and your ROAS goes down, your CAC goes up and so on. You can't control it. What you can control is estimation. Like if I'm still spending more money, we should be able to generate profit in next 3 months, 6 months, because scaling any brand, like I said, it's a mix of art and science. It's a technical skill set. Very few people are able to do it. But if you're scaling by saying that I will increase the spends or give more discounts or add more products, you are relying on a half-baked story. I want to know if I acquire a customer in December this year, at what profit am I acquiring it? Am I making money against it or not? If I'm making, for example, 20% net profit, is the business okay if that 20% goes to 15%? Because that is the cost of scaling. If you want to go beyond, let's say you're doing 1000 orders, you want to go to 2000, you will have to take a hit for the next 6 months. Can you take that hit? If you can, what is the hit you can take? Is it 2%, 3%, 5%? Because that is the amount of money I will need to scale your brand. And then you get into where to spend that money, which I will of course explain you, vertical scaling, horizontal scaling on Meta, etc. I will explain you that. But before you get into that, you have to understand this aspect first. Only then you are able to get more money to spend in marketing. Otherwise, it becomes difficult. So what I want you to do as a reflection exercise after today's session is three things. Number one, which fundamental truth is hits closest to your business right now? Which means I know that we do not have our content game figured out. I don't know what to post next week. I don't have a plan. My engagement is really bad. Um, I'm not testing at least three ad themes. Uh, at least three ad themes today on Meta. At least three ad themes are live on Meta today. I don't know. So if you, and every founder knows this, what is the biggest bottleneck at the moment? I don't want you to answer me this question. I want you to reflect on this so that when you're coming back and when you're going through the content going forward, things will start making sense to you. Why something is not working. Or if you are new, you are getting started, where you need to work first so that you don't end up spending money in wrong pockets, right? Fundamental truth it's closest to my business right now. Is it, do I have a good product? I have, what is the definition of good product? Definition of good product is people keep coming back. I know some of you have taken almost like 3 or 4 master classes with me. That is a validation of a good product. I have repeats of 40%, 50%, good product. In B2B SaaS, if your attrition, it could be different for different products in B2B and price points. But let's say your attrition is 20%, 15%, not too bad for expensive B2B products, right? What is your attrition? Every founder will know this. So reflect on that first of all. What is your strength and one bottleneck or weakness? What is your current leverage? Do you have a strong brand? You have worked on your brand, people know it. At least it is in top 3 brands in your category. Great. Or you rely on strong offer. You feel that I keep coming up with new ideas, new offers, which helps me to get conversions. For example, this masterclass, some of you signed up in the early bird offer, right? Then some of you signed up after that. Some of you are attending it as part of Black Friday offer. So this is me thinking, what is my offering? Offer is not discount all the time. There was no discount here. Early bird is an invisible discount. I'm rewarding people who took decision early. That is for my category. What is it for your category? Or do you have creative agility, which means that yeah, I can churn out a new creative theme probably. If you ask me to do it, I can do it and I can create it in next 24 to 48 hours. And I can do it throughout the month. Great. If you have a strong personal brand, I work on all 4, but personal brand is the biggest one for me at the moment. Right. So what is that for you? I want to just reflect on this yourself. You don't have to come back to me and answer this. Reflect on this. Like, where do you think is your leverage out of these 4 at the moment? There could be more leverages also like AI and so on, but all of that later. I'm yet to explain that. What is your current payback horizon? What is your customer acquisition cost? If you are new to performance marketing, if you have not done any ads, then of course you don't have answer to this. But what is your customer acquisition cost at the moment? How quickly do you recover from it and make profit? Do you make it in the first transaction, second, third, whatever that is? Yeah, brands do make profit in the second and third transaction also, and they don't make anything in the first transaction. I will give you some examples. But then there are also categories like real estate or this product which I am selling, where even if someone shines, you still make money out of it. But I want you to think and be mathematical about what is your customer acquisition cost and in what time frame are you able to make money from a user that you acquire, let's say in the month of December. I will show you how to do it calculation wise also, and whether your payback horizon is sustainable to scale or not. This payback horizon mostly holds for D2C websites, not marketplaces so much. Difficult to calculate there. But if you are on D2C website, then you should calculate it. Otherwise, it's okay. Reflect on the other 2 points which I have mentioned. Because the extension of this masterclass will all come from the 12 fundamental truths that I have explained and these 3 points. Next session onwards, I will not get into Meta and Google directly. I will give you another playbook for what is coming up for low AOV, high AOV, education categories, B2B, SaaS, all of that separately. I'll give you specific thinking model that you should apply for each of those categories. And all the businesses, no matter how different it is, will fall under one of those categories, you will realize. Once you have this understanding of fundamentals and the thinking model for your category, then you get into platforms. Then you have more context of what you need to understand more, right? Like otherwise, it just becomes a dashboard walkthrough session. I don't want to do that. So next session will be more around those categories that I will talk about. That brings me to the end of today's session. Anyone who is attending it as part of Black Friday, if you want to join the entire masterclass, this is your chance. The next session is happening on Monday. You can scan this QR code and complete your purchase. No push. If you think there's value, go ahead and do it. If you think there's not enough value in it for you, it's fine. You can go through the full stack content. But the content that I will cover in this masterclass will be beyond full stack. Some part you might find common, but most of it will be the content like you saw, slightly more strategic in nature, and slightly more tactical also in nature, instead of getting into foundations so much. Okay, so if you're interested, you can scan and sign up, and you will be added to a WhatsApp group where you will get the recording of the first session, the timings or the resources, etc. that I will share will all be shared on the closed WhatsApp group where some of you are already part of, the ones who have joined the entire masterclass. Yes, that brings me to the end of today's session, guys. Thank you so much for staying back. It's almost what, 8:20. Wow. But I hope you have some context. The intent was to set the tone with respect to what is coming up. And now we will build on this. There are some questions. Let me see if I can answer them quickly before we sign off. Gathering first party data is the future, right? It was, I would say it was the past as well. It is the present, and absolutely it is the future. See, if you own data, like I said, right? If you own, guys, if you own distribution, oh God, it's so powerful, you can't even imagine. I'm an example of this. Distribution is like, someone said this also. Content is king, distribution is God. I don't remember who said this, but you will realize the power of digital distribution once you create it. The businesses that are able to scale um, are the ones that create distribution first. You do it organically, you do it paid, it's up to you. But that is the total game changer. All right, so please repeat the 12th point that you mentioned. 12th point was this. Where is it? Yeah, attribution. I explained this a lot. Maybe you can watch the recording later, but I explained this at length. Any more questions? How are you preparing yourself with AI resources and all? Krishna, signal, I've explained briefly what type of signals we will get into, but it's okay if you don't fully. I know your background, you texted me. It's okay if you don't understand signals at the moment. It's absolutely fine because I will explain it properly when I talk about the platforms. Yeah, Puneet, how I am keeping myself updated? See, the thing is, the thing with me is that I teach and I also create content, so I have to be at top of things. That is non-negotiable for me. So because the nature of my work, I have to keep myself updated. But in terms of what do I refer to, I don't think there's a resource. I have blocked some time on my calendar every morning, 11 to 12 p.m., 1 hour, spending time on Twitter, Reddit, LinkedIn, SEO Roundtable, Search Engine Journal, Search Engine Land, um, Meta Newsroom. There are multiple such um, resources that I refer to in order to. And in fact, today I use deep research mode a lot by Grok and ChatGPT both because I think they do a great job. I use Notebook LM a lot to store my learnings at one place. just to share with you guys, I'm doing the next workshop on how you can use Notebook LM as a tool, because I think it's a fantastic tool for you to build the strategies that I'm referring to. I will be doing it sometime in January, but I will announce it soon on my Instagram. It's going to be a 1 to 1.5 hour session on a Sunday. But yeah, I use these tools to an extent. But yeah, that's how I'm preparing myself. I'm not scared, Puneet. I mean, I'm not like worried about it at all because I am at top of it. The only thing is I don't like to predict things, or I don't want to create unnecessary hype around it. That's why I don't create much content on AI, because most of the people that you see create content on AI are hyping it. They might not be using it themselves. I'm part of the creator community. I'm part of Born on Instagram community. I'm part of all the marketing communities that creators have and so on. Most of the people are not even using AI to an extent where they are responsible to grow a business or generate revenue, right? Because that is serious business. So I don't get carried away by hype and all, and I don't think anyone should. You follow some people who talk about AI tools and keep you updated, great. But I don't sweat about it. I think as long as you know what Google and Meta are doing, and what OpenAI is doing, what Google's, not only Google search, what Google is doing at large with AI, right? I think you're good. That's good enough for you to know. And I also feel that if you understand all the 10 sessions that I will cover well, then you are at top of things, because I have tried my best to break it down with respect to whatever is happening in today's time, and probably what the future will be over the next 1 or 2 years. After that, no one knows. All right, great. Thank you so much, guys. I think I've answered all your questions. I don't see. Um, Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. I'm in digital marketing from last 9 years. Worked with agencies for 4 years. Now work with 3 or 4 clients, doing around 80K plus. I'm confused. Should I work for an agency, hire people? Um, Himanshu, see these kind of. I will be able to answer questions which are with respect to content that I have covered so far, right? Also, these kind of questions, right, which are career oriented, or what step you should take. Everyone who's part of the larger masterclass gets a 30-minute one-on-one chat with me, which you can avail anytime you want. You have to text me on WhatsApp. You have my number. You can tell me when you want to connect, a time that works for both. Everyone who's signed up for the full masterclass, you have 30-minute slot with me, which you can use anytime. Probably I need to understand more about you before I answer this question, Imanshu, because I need to understand you as a person and individual and gauge what your strengths are before telling you or giving you an answer on this. All right. Is there any internship or something? No, we don't hire people for internship. We don't hire anyone who has less than 6 to 7 years of experience. Where were we? I mean, I've not hired for a long time now. I mean, intern, AI intern sometime back, which we worked for a couple of months, but I don't have patience for it. So, so we don't. There's no hiring that I have done in the last 2 years or so, probably. All the people that are working in my team are the ones who have been with me for years now. So I trust their judgment. Um, and we don't hire. There's just 6 people in my team, including me. So no hiring. I just have a small team set up. So internship, if I hire someone, I will announce. But at the moment, there is nothing. All right, great. Recordings, how will I get for the first session? If you are part of the group, you know how to get it. If you have signed up for the full masterclass, you will get the access. Only the people who have signed up for the full masterclass will be getting the access for the recording and the rest of the sessions. All right, guys, thank you so much. I'll not take any more time from you. Thank you for logging in and staying back. I'll see you in the next session, and have a good weekend till then. Thank you.